New Mustang owners, we're talking about you. Exactly what order should you be getting parts for your new Mustang? Today we're going to go over all of it. We'll be splitting up this video into multiple categories. First one, kicking it off, aesthetics. When it comes to aesthetics, the Mustang's a clean slate. Best part is that we can make our Mustang our own personality. A very common first modification is a spoiler. Some Mustangs come with spoilers from the factory, some of them don't, meaning you may have to drill in order to get those spoilers installed. We have plenty of options available at Steeda. GT500 style spoiler for one is a very common option because it has that GT500 look, as well as the Mach 1s and the GT350s have that beautiful gurney flap on the back. In addition to that, the Steeda race wing is always a signature look, especially with that race-inspired wing. Then if you actually are into racing, the APR adjustable carbon fiber wing that we have on our number 20 road race car is an awesome choice for you. Additionally, you have other options in terms of hoods or hood vents. Cervini's has plenty of options there, as well as chin splitters and chin spoilers, quarter window scoops, quarter window louvers, rear window louvers, aftermarket lighting options, whether you're looking at clear taillights for your S550 Mustang or new headlights up front, swapping the LED bulbs in the interior or in the rear as well. Plenty of options available when it comes to aesthetics on the Mustang. In terms of what order, totally up to you. Really comes down to what you're looking for out of your Mustang. Now that you have your car looking the way you want it to look in terms of aesthetics, lowering your car, right? That is the next step when it comes to modifying your Mustang. Finding the right lowering springs can be very difficult because there are different lowering springs for different applications. We're not going to get into excruciating detail in this video, but we have an entire video covering all of our lowering spring options available for S550 Mustang, so be sure to check those out. But once you have springs picked out for your Mustang, we really don't recommend just adding the springs and then letting it go from there. We try to walk you through the process in a way that makes the most sense, not only to your wallet, but also to the car itself. So you have your springs set aside. Now you need to figure out camber plates or camber bolts. Typically more street-oriented applications go towards the camber bolts, or performance-oriented applications towards the camber plates. You have your springs, you have your camber plates. Next up, IRS components. We're gonna use common sense here. If you're taking apart your suspension to install lowering springs and camber plates, you're gonna have your IRS apart in the rear. This is a great opportunity to address the wheel hop that is inherent with these S550 Mustangs. So an alignment kit and a bushing support system is a great way to get started, and frankly, if it's already apart, just go ahead and add it in, especially when it comes to the benefits for how cost-effective those modifications are. So you button everything up from there, and then you could start focusing on some of those modifications that don't necessarily require an alignment to install. Great example of this is IRS subframe braces. Again, that helps quite a bit with triangulating the IRS with the rest of the car, helping with wheel hop and getting that power planted through the drivetrain and ultimately to the ground. Now, if you didn't want to lower your Mustang in the first place, we typically recommend starting with sway bars. It's going to help quite a bit with the roll stiffness of the vehicle and help you address either understeer or oversteer, or get your vehicle, even with the stock springs, more neutral feeling as it takes corners. Whether you're installing sway bars first or last, the idea here is to install everything requiring alignment at the same time. Most of us are driving street cars. We don't necessarily need an alignment for the track and then back to the street and then to the track all the time. So you want to set one alignment and forget it. Why install parts over and over again just to pay the 100 or 150 bucks to get a performance alignment on your vehicle multiple times? And then in terms of suspension, depending on how far you're pushing your car, this is typically why we ask people what they're doing with their vehicle. Give me a percentage, give me a split. Street versus track versus drag. What's your split between the three, and how often? 80% of the street, 50% of the street, or it's completely track or drag oriented vehicle. That way we can help push you in the right direction on whether you need things like differential bushing inserts or bearings in the rear lower control arms to help get that power to the ground on drag cars. Again, if you're looking for more information on how to set up the suspension on your Mustang, you are at the exact right place. Check out all the other videos on our YouTube channel covering this topic. If you have any more questions, our customer service team is more than happy to take care of you. You got your car looking the way you want it to look. You have the car sitting the way you want and performing the way you want, whether it's back roads or on the racetrack. Next up is wheels. Wheels are important to do after the suspension so you can nail that perfect fitment that we're all looking for on our Mustang. In terms of what wheels you choose for your Mustang, there are multiple different avenues to go. That's the best part about Mustangs. You have tons of different options when it comes to parts. If you're looking for a street setup, typically most people go with 20-inch wheels, sometimes 19 depending on what they're looking to do with the vehicle. A lot of cases Ford does come out with 19-inch wheels for their performance-oriented packages, and then obviously the aftermarket has their options as well. Now if you're looking for more of a drag-oriented setup, in a lot of cases, they go towards the 17-inch wheels in the rear with the drag pack sort of situation to get as much meat in the rear as possible with the bias ply slicks doing their job. Or if you're looking for more of a road race situation, the least amount of rotational mass is key, right? So with that, you try to get the smallest diameter wheel possible around those massive 6-piston brakes up front. In a lot of cases, a set of 18-inch apex wheels will definitely do the trick. But diameter isn't where you stop. You need to think about offset as well. Where do you want that wheel to sit in regards to the fender? And additionally, how aggressive of an offset can you go based on how low the vehicle is to the ground? If you're looking for more information on wheel offset and how all of that works, we do have a video covering that topic, so be sure to check that out on our YouTube channel. Now that you figure out what wheel style you're going for, the diameter and the offset, it's time to pick tires. You want to make sure you fill out the wheel gap if you're looking for that perfect fitment on the street. And if you're more geared towards the road course, you want to get as wide of a tire as possible, but allowing enough room for the suspension to do its thing. In regards to street fitment, one of my favorite fitments is our 20-inch Trident wheels with 275/35 tires up front and 315/35 tires in the rear. You can also see this on our recently released Steeda Mach 1 that we rolled out with the Belgian VF5s all the way around, 20x10 in the front, 20x11 in the rear, and that same 275 up front and 315 rear fitment. Last but certainly not least, power and drivetrain. Doesn't matter whether you have an EcoBoost or a GT500, there's always power left on the table to be gained from your Mustang. Typically, a lot of people like to start with exhaust. In terms of an axle back, that's a great way to get not only a power bump, but also that throaty rumble that we all know and love from these Mustangs. If you have an active exhaust, great place to start would be a resonator delete to get rid of that suitcase resonator, not only for the weight savings, but also for a little bit more rumble while retaining your factory active exhaust mufflers. In addition to that, if you want to take it to the max, you can pick up an entire catback exhaust system. We have those available on our website as well. If you're looking for more information on exhaust and which you should pick up for your Mustang, we have an entire video covering that on our channel. Once you have exhaust out of the way, we know that they will hear you coming. You need to bump up the power up front. What that means is a cold air intake. You have two options, tune required and non-tune required cold air intakes. In order to get the absolute most out of your intake, getting a tune alongside it is going to net you the most gains. And then once you have your intake and tune on the vehicle, then intake manifold, like a Cobra Jet, would be your natural next step. If we're sticking to naturally aspirated, there's a ton of other things you can do. Just look at the Silver Bullet and the 9-second runs we've had on that car. By the end of the day, you can do cams, different fueling, all kinds of crazy things to get the absolute most out of your NA Coyote motor. But if you're looking to go forced induction, a Whipple or Edelbrock supercharger is the best way to get a bunch of horsepower all in one package. And in terms of supporting mods, when you're adding all that horsepower, you can't forget about things like clutches, one-piece drive shafts, and upgraded diffs. Reach out to our customer service team. We'll be happy to set you up in the right direction. In terms of the basics for powertrain, that's pretty much it. Getting that additional power to the ground is great, but you need to be able to slow the car down too. That's where brakes come in. We have our two-piece rotors, a great option for not only weight savings and that rotational mass, but pairing it with a set of Hawk Performance pads, gonna get you that brake bite that you're looking for as well. But to be honest, we could talk about this for hours. So this is a great place to start, give you the overall basics of where to start in modifying your Mustang and what steps to take. If you're looking for any more in-depth videos covering this topic or anything related, please let us know in the comments below. We do check those out. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, the notification bell, and don't forget the most important thing, speed matters.